presidency, Tinubu closes MFLS investigation. When I come back from this short break, I'm going to quickly introduce the guests we have for this evening. Do stay tuned. So glad to have you back on Press Roundtable on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Angel Ngokoma, also known as Angelic Angel on the social media. And this evening, I have a wonderful guest, a media practitioner, a journalist, and a news editor. He's Mr. Stanley Madi. Mr. Stanley, good to have you once again. It's always my pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you so much.
Yes, and I'm super excited this evening. All right, let's take a quick look at the stories that we have coming from Lagos. We are going to look at the fuel queues resurface in Lagos. That's by the headlines. And long queues built up in filling stations across Lagos State today, Friday, creating fears of impending fuel scarcity. Our correspondent who went around the city of Lagos gathered that the queues in some of the filling stations affected the free flow of traffic. At the AP filling station in Alapere, commuters were held in traffic on Friday morning as vehicle owners and individuals struggled to buy fuel. The station stopped dispensing fuel later in the day. There was a long queue at the Coin Oil fuel station in the same Alapere, while Total Energies and the Axis was not seen to be dispensing fuel. It was also observed that many stations did not dispense fuel, and this mounted pressure on the few ones where the product was available. The NNPC station at Fadeyi did not sell petrol as of noon today. So, ATN correspondent reports that NIPCO also recorded a long queue of vehicles waiting to get premium motor spirits. Also, there was a long queue at the AP fuel station, as you can see in Onipano. The mobile filling stations along Palm Grove, Alausa, and Maitu did not open for PMS sale on Friday. The NNPC, the mobile, the tax, the NIPCO, and Enyo, Salam, and other filling stations along the Mowe-Ibafor route in Ogun State did not also sell petrol too. Now, in the same vein, Capital and Enyo at Beja did not open to sell PMS as at the time of filing this report. The Enyo filling station at Ojodo Junction had long queues when our correspondent got there. It was the same scenario at Etana filling station along Oronshoki at northwest along Oju Elegba, Total Energies and MRS at Surulere. Now we're talking about what's happening in Lagos. The situation affected a number of commercial vehicles on the road on Friday. Now, let's go to Maitu. Some young men engaged in black market sale of products at 800 naira per litre. Some commercial bike riders who spoke with our correspondent said they have been buying from black marketers since Wednesday. Media had reported that a number of filling stations did not sell fuel on Monday. The National Vice President of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Ahmed Fashola, said on Monday that there was a little hiccup in the distribution of the products, expressing optimism that normalcy will be restored after the Easter break. And he said, I quote, "Yes, I think there was a little infraction in supply. The Easter holiday from Friday to Monday also added to the situation, and I think from Wednesday it will ease off. But today is Friday. The holiday was almost 4 days off. It will have its effect, but I'm sure by Wednesday it will start getting better. Though there was little problem with supply even before the holiday. There was a little hiccup in supply, the holiday added to it. He said he's sure that it will start getting better after the holiday. However, she said, our correspondent observed that the situation seemed to be getting worse 4 days after the Easter break. The spokesperson of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Olufemi Shonoye, has yet to reply to an inquiry from our correspondent on the cause of long queues in filling stations. Now, this is actually what is happening. As you can see them on the television, what is actually happening in Lagos State, and a lot of people. This is a worrisome situation. Where are we heading to? Where is Nigeria heading to? At this point in time, they said that we're buying fuel at the rate of 600 naira per something, and some people are selling 700 naira. Now, this is coming from Lagos City, and they are talking about scarcity of fuel. They say they've not seen any of, even the NNPC, Total Energies, and those very around that area, that they were not seeing dispensing fuel. What does it point? This is it. This is Nigerian economy. Now, is it a foreglim of what is going to happen in other parts of the state, I'm asking? Like, where do we take it from here? Where do we go from here? Because I think it's a looming danger.
Yes.
It's a looming, yeah.
It's a very serious cause for concern.
Exactly.
When it comes to the fuel situation in Nigeria. And we've actually over the time come to realize and understand that once there is any situation of scarcity of fuel in any part of the country, within a twinkle of an eye, it spreads across the nation. And usually this is not caused as a result of scarcity, actual scarcity. It's just, a market force put up by the marketers to cause a pseudo scarcity, a kind of a false scarcity of the product, thereby causing inflation, causing hike in price, and causing station owners to sell at their own discretion without any form of regulation whatsoever, for the purpose of maximum profit making. And this is a situation that actually should be a concern to the government itself. Because I was actually listening to see to hear if there was a situation where they could say this is an actual cause. But if you look at the narrative, there was no tangible reason to cause the scarcity. Why? Because, of course, so far we know too well that the availability of the product is even improving with the Dangote refinery coming on stream, the Port Harcourt refinery coming on stream,
yes,
and a whole lot of it. So at this point, we shouldn't be talking about any form of scarcity.
At all.
And the last time we had the issue of scarcity was when we said the tanker drivers, Pengasen, went on strike for their demands and all that. And of course, immediately all the marketers decided to take advantage of that situation. But at this point, there was nothing tangibly mentioned, only for the case where they said there was a little bit of infrastructure delays in supply and all that, which reasonably we shouldn't say it's a cause. And of course, one common situation with Nigerian market is a situation where everyone wants to take the situation to their advantage. A lot of stations are not selling. Trust me, most of it are not because they don't have the product. They're just trying to hoard it because of that false scarcity they actually want to create.
Okay.
And then subsequently too, most of them that dispense all of a sudden will stop at a particular time of the day to dispense. We know it's in this country, we see that during the day fuel stations will not be open, but at night, at a very odd hour of the night, as late as, as early as 1 a.m., 12 midnight, and so on, you see station being open. And those that are actually able to access it most often are those that will now go on retail, that is the black market as we call them, that will now begin. I think they say they sold at 800 naira from the motorists and commercial
Yeah, and you know, when they do that, they create what we call artificial scarcity.
Exactly.
And because it's not supposed to be.
At all.
And then, you know, these black marketers, because most of them are saying they are buying from black marketers since Wednesday.
Now they choose to peg whatever price.
Exactly.
They feel is convenient and comfortable for them, or that they feel is justifiable to them. And at the end of the day, it has a great effect on the economy. It has a downturn on the economy. Why? Because we know generally that the inflation we're talking about today, a major source of it is the cost of transportation.
Yes.
And when the fuel is not available, or there is scarcity, and then it's skyrocketing prices, transportation becomes, you know, the result, the hike in transportation, increase in transportation fare, and the rest of it becomes the end product, which affect virtually every aspect of the economy, affect day-to-day activities, affect market persons, affect workers, affect every single part of the economy. You talk about your business, you run it with, even the fuel and other products we are talking about that is not available. So,
and now that Nigeria, we are happy, you know, right now, because like you mentioned, Dangote Refinery is now dispensing diesel, and so we're not supposed to cry. We're not supposed to cry for scarcity. They're not supposed to hoard fuel in order to punish Nigerians, because this is another hardship. You know, every hardship is just emanating from there.
Yes.
You know, it's just coming from there, because once they feel once we experience this scarcity of fuel, it affects every sector. It affects just virtually everything.
you know, Nigerian marketers, I think at this point, it has gone to a point where they don't even want the situation to get better.
At all.
Because that is what it is. They just want to create an artificial situation that will favor them. And most often, government efforts are being frustrated, I would say, because of personal gains. They think if certain things get to normalcy the way it should be, they are going to be at the receiving end. And trust me, every situation, every crisis that we think, whatever situation we think is a crisis to our economy, has a set of persons that is benefiting. And this particular set of persons will not want to let go.
Maybe let's just say those who are, because they have a committee.
Yes.
They have those on top who are controlling that, because
exactly.
these are the people that we have to call in. We have to beckon on them.
Yes.
To look into the matter.
Exactly.
What really causes the scarcity of the fuel? You know, because everything goes to them.
It's actually alarming to hear that, okay, there was a little bit of delay in supply, which was assumed to be something to last just for 1 or 2 days, and at most on Wednesday that the scarcity should be over. Well, at this point we are talking about Friday, and the situation seems to be worse. You know, I couldn't actually imagine that we have such a high level of queue waiting at the fuel station, you know, for people to make purchase. And you begin to imagine. One certain thing that is very much sure is that beyond this period we are talking about, you begin to talk about same scarcity in every other part of the country. Because once it happens in Lagos or Abuja, every other state take lead. Whether they have such peculiarities that are causing such scarcity over there or not, they create theirs.
Yes.
Just to actually fall into the same scarcity in order to maximize gains.
Exactly.
Which is not good. And on the part of the government, I think one thing that should be done seriously is the art of regulation. If the government is asked to ensure that no matter what the situation is, whether there is scarcity or not, in as much as there is an official price for that product, if you are selling, you sell at that price. I think that will go a long way to reduce the issue of scarcity. Why? Because they know too well that whether they sell or not, it makes no difference.
Exactly.
They will sell at that same price. So you see that at the end of the day, the product will be, the issue of at the point when you think there might be scarcity, you see that the product might be more than enough, might be excessive. Why? Because everybody is now selling to get to exhaust their product, to get, you know, new products. But at this point, they know too well that there is no regulation, there is no measures put in place for sanction to those that would default in one way or the other. Hence, everything it's in their.
But I think everybody has a regulation. There is always a regulatory body, because if not, there'll be much deviance.
Yeah, so regulation, I mean, yeah, not that the agencies or the bodies are not there,
Okay.
but the enforcement. Okay, well, let's say the enforcement rather.
Okay.
We know of a time when even state governors, even here in the States, go around, you know, or stations, fuel station, unscheduled to monitor the pump prices, you know, to monitor what's going on with some of these outlets. And wherever he gets to that happens to sell in deviance to the approved market price, you know, that outlet happens to be shut down or face the risk of being shut down indefinitely. It was happening, I think the time of Amechi, it happened when we know of a time when he goes around with power bike. Though it's not actually, it might not be in his purview to do that personally, but as a governor or as a government, you want to ensure that things, you know, fall into place, and every other agencies are doing what they are supposed to do. All you just need to do is to put the right machineries with the right supervision, and things will be done. But at this point, the outlet, the fuel stations and the marketers are actually saying that from the agencies that are supposed to ensure compliance and then to ensure that there is enforcement are doing nothing. And howbeit, if they eventually turn up, how maybe papers, envelopes are passed in quote, and at the end of the day, nothing happens. You know, so they do that with confidence. They do that with the guarantee that nothing is happening, or however those that are actually supposed to enforce it have been taken care of. Hence, they have no fear or any form of concern anymore. So these are aspects that the government should actually look into.
Exactly. I think I concur with you that the government has to look into this matter so that they don't suffer Nigerians, because the country is actually very hard for everyone right now. Okay, let's take a quick look at what is the troops of the Nigerian Army intercepted and prevented a kidnapping incident along the busy Nasarawa-Kefi Road on Thursday. That was yesterday. This story is coming from in Nasarawa State. The suspected kidnappers had attacked the victim and abducted him. However, following distress calls from residents of the area, the troops embarked on a rescue operation along the routes. A statement by the Nigerian Army on Friday on its X handle said the troops promptly arrived and thwarted the victim's abduction. The post read, troops of the Nigerian Army responded to a distress call have foiled a kidnap attempt along Nasarawa-Kefi Road close to the Federal Polytechnic Nasarawa State and rescued the victim. As you can see on the screen, the troops carried out the rescue operation on Thursday, that's yesterday, April 4, 2024, during a routine patrol along Nasarawa-Kefi Road in the Nasarawa local government area of Nasarawa State. The criminals had launched an attack on this unsuspecting civilian in an attempt to abduct him, but the troops, who were quickly alerted by the vigilante members of the neighborhood, swiftly intervened and averted the situation, rescuing the civilian. The army also said one of the suspected kidnappers was arrested after he sustained a gunshot injury during a gun duel with the troops. The troops also apprehended one of the kidnappers who had sustained injury in a shootout with the criminals. The injured suspect and the rescued kidnapped victim, who also suffered minor injuries during the forward kidnap, have been promptly evacuated to a hospital for medical attention, the Post added. Media report has it that troops rescued no fewer than 1,241 kidnapped hostages in different operations conducted across the country between January and March 2024. And as you can see there, what is going on? And the soldiers rescued and kidnapped victim, arrested and arrest suspects. I want to commend the National State government for their prompt action in rescuing the victim, because I mean, how can they do this if not with the, putting some measures in place to make sure that these hoodlums are apprehended? Yes, they are doing community policing, or a sort of like the vigilante helping them. So imagine rescuing, joint operation. So I think it's a commendable development, and it's quiet. Exactly. What can you say about that? Now, because we want to really look at now the National State people, these are the army.
Yes.
Then the police are also doing their own. Now, I think other states need to borrow relief from what happened in Nasarawa State. If they could able to rescue, then, get a suspect immediately. And who knows, if without the rescue of this victim, the man would have been dead by now.
True.
Who knows what would the fate of the man?
Who possibly wouldn't know what to be their fate at this point.
Exactly.
And there's something I actually believe when it comes to crime, criminality in the society and the government. And that certainly is the fact that every crime that persists, that lingers in the society for so long, it's because the government do not take interest in combating or curtailing it. There is no criminal element whatsoever that can overpower the government. If the government actually want to do something about it, there is no criminal element, there is no crime, there is no form or pattern it will come that would surpass the ability of the government to curtail it in whatsoever manner or approach it tends or it deems fit, if they actually want to be proactive. And these have actually been made evident in a number of cases. Of course, let's start here in River State, the case of two Baba, we actually that took over the internet, the media, over a couple of weeks or months, after the killing of a very renowned DPO of police, that's Ambassador. And of course, the government declared him wanted, and every agency put measures, to get him apprehended. And today, it's a history. It's a history. Well, this same person, trust me, at the time of this incident, that was not when he started being a security threat to lives and property in the state and the nation at large. But because the government decided to give him attention and think that he has to be gotten, whether in any means, it took them nothing to actually achieve that. And hence, same thing applies to every other form or every other nature or forms of criminality in whatever guise it might come. Commendable is, the rescue operation in Nasarawa, as we're talking about. And then I've actually been saying it all this way. When we say gunmen, bandits, terrorists, or whatever they are named, came into the community, kidnapped a mass number of persons, school children, villagers, and all that, and successfully went away with them and then begin to demand ransom. To me, it's actually sound pathetic. I can't actually imagine a situation. How did this happen? Such an operation is not a matter of minutes. When we're talking about matter of time, it's a matter of hours, and a good number of hours at that. Which route did they actually take? Which destination did they take through? This possibly has actually caused concern, and the security personnel are at alert. Which way? Was it through the road or through the forest? How did they take to get these people to whatever safe point they want them to be without being intercepted? There are a lot of compromise for these things to actually happen. And if the government decide or the security agencies decide that there's never going to be a compromise in any way, in any form, in its society, trust you me, crime can never thrive in the society. Can never thrive does not mean that the tendencies will be there, but it will be highly reduced. Why? Because they know too well that once it is being plotted, it's going to be thwarted. It's not going to be successful, or they are going to go in for it. And a way to bring this also, to a BRS minimum is actually the effort of every agencies of government and its security, apparatus to work in synergy, down to a synergy even down to the locals. The locals will have as, the vigilantes and every other internal or community security measures that are put in place, especially when it comes to local crimes, kidnapping within, the villages and local areas as such. That is the best way to, get them. Why? Because without such joint or combined operation, it will be very difficult to catch up with these
yeah, like
bandits in the forest.
exactly like in their own case in Nasarawa State, when they heard that the victim was kidnapped, they put up a distress call immediately. No, because you talked about synergy, working in synergy.
Yes.
If they work in synergy, it's going to make the work easier for them,
Very,
and
very
it's going
easy.
to reduce it to the barest
Yes.
minimum. Because now these people, they saw what happened. They put up a distress call, and the army responded immediately, intercepting them and rescuing the victim. Do you understand
yes,
it?
of course. And that's actually the foundation of the success
Exactly.
of the rescue. If they had actually, most of the times we had situation where the army get distress calls, and at the end of the day, in a situation of rather than rapid response, they want to get orders from authorities. They want to get orders from superiors. They want to get orders from Abuja if they are going to actually act or they are going to stay back. And at the end of the day, it frustrates, the peace of the society. It frustrates. At the end of the day, the criminals are doing away. By the time they follow through with approvals and whatever orders that they will need, these persons have actually successfully gone their way. And then, true, it's a matter of checks and balances in the military. They have their modus operandi. But however, I believe and I think, just like recently, the Senate, I think, have actually, given a waiver to the law that now permits every hospital, to treat victims of gunshot injury. Before now, we know too well that even at the point of death, doctors and hospitals will say, go get police report.
Yes.
And somebody at that critical stage of life would be lying in pain, hopeless, and then people will be running about from one police station to the other, which we know how it's also going to be frustrating over there before they will come back. And at the end of the day, we know so many lives have been lost in a situation as that. So same measures now that has, given that, privilege and that go-ahead order to hospitals and doctors to treat gunshot victims until pending investigation, and while on the treatment for necessary reports to be made, to be carried out. If there is an administrative hiccup for the army or whatever security outfits that are there, in order to respond to distress call, rapid response to distress call, because of approvals and orders from the government should actually look for a way to, adjust that bottleneck, so that at the point of receiving a distress call on confirmation of such credible information of such situation being in place, action should be taken. Measures should be taken to curtail the place. If not for anything, the terrain at which there should be the possible route of escape for whatever criminal, whether it is robbery at the urban areas, kidnap in the villages or whatever, we know too well that there are possible routes. Measures should be taken to, block these areas. In the developed and civilized society and countries, these are common things. Why there is a distress call that something is going on, the next moment they are plotting and they have actually taken shed. They have sent and dispatched operatives and personnel into strategic corners of the community or the city to prevent or forestall an escape, of the prisoner if they have not gotten to the scene yet.
Exactly.
So these are measures that should actually be put in place. Most of the time they make reference to, developed nations, to America, to UK and the rest when it comes to governance, to democracy and the rest of it. Let us also try to implement and put up measures to curtail a lot of security challenges, as these developed nations have successfully done in their own domain, in their own region, to see that there is a relative level of security, and some level of crimes we hear of on a daily basis in this part of the world. It's, is also restricted. We barely hear of a situation where a number of persons in their tens and hundreds, even down to accumulating to hundreds of going to thousands, will be weeks away effortlessly. It's crazy. To me, I'm yet to put one or two together to make a sense out of it.
Exactly. Well, I just want to encourage, I just want to thank you for that suggestions and that I just want to commend you. Well, at this point, I just want to observe a little break. When we come back, we're going to take more stories. Stay.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
All right, we're glad to have you back on Atlantic Television Network program. This is Roundtable. Let's look at the stories again coming from Kogi State. Bandits killed 19 persons and injured several others at Go Jeju Odo community in Omala local government area of Kogi State on Thursday, that was yesterday. A community member alleged that a running battle between militia groups in parts of Benue and some bandits led to the onslaught on the sleepy towns of Agojeju-Odo, Ajokpachi-Odo, Bagaji and environs. They destroyed farm produce with ease in an attempt to draw the communities into the conflict, he said. The special advisor on security to Governor Usman Ododo, Jerry Omodara, confirmed the incident on Friday when he spoke with the news agency of Nigeria in Lokoja. He said the governor had ordered a thorough investigation of the incident. The killing of 19 innocent and harmless residents of the community by alleged hired militiamen is very callous, unacceptable and condemnable. The area is now calm, however, following the deployment of security operatives who are keeping vigil there, he said. Mr. Omodara said property, especially houses, vehicles, and crops were destroyed in the attack. He called on the people of Agojeju-Odo and neighboring communities to remain calm as government and security agencies were on top of the situation. The police spokesperson in Nukogi, Williams Ove Aya, also confirmed the attack and assured the security operatives were keeping vigil over the community to forestall further attacks. A tactical response team of the police, the military, and members of the vigilante groups has been deployed in the area. Normalcy has since returned to the troubled community. Investigation into the incident has started to bring the perpetrators to book. Mr. Ovoyaye assured. As we can see, government how they really wreaked havoc in Kogi State, killing 19 persons and injuring several other people. Well, this has to talk about insecurity in the country, and this is not a palatable news. This is not good news. You know, yes, it's because it's really giving us a very bad image in Nigeria. We are suffering. Look at the economic situation in Nigeria. Look at the masses are suffering. We're talking about the hiking field. We're talking about the bandits. We're talking about the headers, kidnapping, abduction. So my question now is, what is the government now doing? We commended the Nasarawa state government. They rescued this one. There was a quick call and they responded. Now, does it mean that the same is not applicable in Kogi, where they will stand still and they watch these people killing 19? These are individuals injuring other people. And when you say injury, we don't know the degrees of the injuries. We do not know.
Away from the injury alone, the trauma, it's worse enough to,
it's
to
the
be
depression.
To any, injury. You know what it is? Living in fear, living in anguish.
There's what we call psychosomatic disturbance that will emanate from that. Because when you stay in your community and you know they've invaded your community.
You don't know what's next. In fact, you're living with a question of what's next, what's going to happen in the next moment. Are you going to wake up, seeing that the whole community is already on fire, set ablaze, or you're going to wake up to still see the community at normalcy? That is the greatest trauma any person could actually imagine. And then worst of it is not, having, an alternative, not having the means to talk about relocating or to, find a shelter elsewhere. And, coming to this, what is the government doing about it? I asked myself, is it just enough to be reactive to security situations or threats, to lives and properties, rather than being proactive to forestall, a reoccurrence of issues that we have already known have already known as a matter of national, issue, or national emergency, should be considered as a national emergency. We've been hearing of kidnapping every now and then. We get to hear, mass number of persons being whisked away, by bandits, by kidnappers, or whatever group that it may be. And now the question is, when that happens, we hear the government saying measures are they are at the top of it, trying to, ask residents or those left to be calm. I don't know where where they expect such calmness to come from, you know. And you begin to imagine, in the midst of all this, what measures, what mechanism has been put in place to say that, okay, peradventure these people are coming in and they actually get to know too well that there are, you know, measures, machineries. There is a kind of a defense for the community. There is a defense, territorial or regional or border defense for some of these communities, because I believe most of these communities that are the border areas are more prone to these threats or to these bandit attacks and the rest of it. What has been put in place? Is it a big deal to man a well-sustained, you know, security checks, security presence, or building of a well-sustained, you know, barracks or stations to ensure that there is a regular presence of security operative? You won't compare that when you are far away in the metropolitan of the city, in the urban center, and then it's happening in the village. You want to begin to rush down to the village when, you know, attacks are going on. It does not put anything together to see that this that wants, you know, to protect lives and property. So at this point, when it comes to what the government should be doing, they should be thinking in this line.
Exactly.
They should be thinking in this line. How do they raise? Is it a matter of, I begin to imagine, is it a question of personnel? Is it that they don't have personnel that could be, you know, sent to man these places, or it's a matter of the logistics or the funding, or is what is the problem? If it is a personnel issue, I believe in a situation as this, state has been clamoring, the community will be very much willing to make themselves available, in as much as there is a backup and the presence of the government to see that they are being mobilized and strengthened, you know, as a defense. But most often, even some of the community that stands out to, you know, take some measures as defense, you know, maybe where they have the local hunters and the rest of it, we've had, you know, the same government coming out oftentimes to question, to query, to caution and to warn that they shouldn't take laws into their hands. And I begin to wonder our question, what do they mean by taking laws into their hands when these persons are coming to slaughter? Where's the place of self-defense? People trying to coordinate themselves in order to at least be formidable a bit in the eve or in the event of an attack that has been a recurring incident. And the best you could or do is to raise statement or issue, you know, orders that demoralize the individuals or the community, you know, that is trying to give hope to themselves where the government has failed. So the government should actually come to encourage every means, every medium, use every medium that is possible to bring about check. These bandits, trust you me, their life, they know their life is also very much precious to them. They wouldn't come when they know too well that they will face a stiff opposition. They wouldn't come when they know that they are going to be apprehended. They wouldn't come when they know too well that the people they are going to meet are prepared for them. They wouldn't come when they know too well that, you know, there is a counter force waiting to combat them. They wouldn't. Because they have actually seen the vulnerability of these persons, they have seen their helplessness, and they've seen the charity from the government. You know, I wouldn't be wrong, it wouldn't be far-fetched from the truth to see that there are a lot of, you know, high and mighty that are benefiting from this, that are possibly, you know, supporting or sponsoring it in one way or the other. It's not far-fetched, though there might be no face to who and who might be involved, but certainly there is, you know, a hand of one, you know, person or the other that is of a high and mighty in status in the society that is benefiting. Of course, when it happens, there are persons that will be sent to, you know, to mediate. You know, there are persons that some fund to some intervention, process. Of course, I heard also recently that a foiled attempt of, persons trying to set IDP camps, ablaze. In the course of the investigation, some NGOs were actually named or were actually, labeled in the investigation as being part of sponsors. Now you begin to ask, an NGO that supposedly present themselves as those that are helping these displaced persons, that are bringing succor, support, and whatever it is to these displaced persons, are the ones in one way or the other trying to destabilize the little space that has been carved out for them, so that at the end of the day, they will be the one to run to the government, say, we want to bring relief. What relief do you have for us to send to them? That is the idea. And same thing is actually applicable to every form of crime that is happening, that is persisting, and it seems as if the government is doing little or nothing, or as if the government effort is producing no result.
Exactly.
So government should actually look inward too. That's much that should actually be said about it.
Yes. For protection of our lives, we rely on them solely for protection of property. So we look onto them so that they could also, like we said, talking about proactive measures instead of reactive measures. All right, let's look at the last story we have for today in the presidency. President Bola Tinubu has thanked Mr. Jim Obazi for his services as the special investigator of the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) and other related entities, declaring that the investigation has officially come to a close. Presidential spokesman Ajuri Ngelale, in a statement, quoted the president as commended Mr. Obazi for the dedication and professionalism he exercised in handling the complexities of this critical national assignment. Ngelale said subsequent to the conclusion of the assignment and the submission of a final comprehensive report and with the winding up of all apparatuses used during the scope of the task, which terminated on March 31st, 2024, the investigation is formally closed with all appropriate law enforcement and regulatory agencies already conducting follow-up action. Now, the president thanks Mr. Obaze for answering the call of duty while wishing him success in his future endeavors. Recall that President Tinubu in July appointed Obazi, former Chief Executive Officer of the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria (FRSC), to investigate the activities of the Apex Bank under Emefiele. Following the findings of Obazi and his team, the former CBN governor is already facing charges in court. The reports presented to the president against the former CBN boss highlighted unauthorized funding of offshore bank accounts, fraudulent cash withdrawals from the CBN vaults, gross financial misconduct involving the former governor and his deputy governors, substantial fixed deposit holdings amounting to 543.4 million euros, among others. The report also highlighted manipulations in the Naira exchange rate, irregularities in the e-Naira projects, unauthorized printing of new currency denominations, and substantial expenditures on legal fees. Now, this is Emefiele. I remember this is a panel's investigation. This is a presidency. As a matter of fact, presidency, Tinubu closes Emefiele's panel investigation. Now we're talking about closing this the investigation. I think it's referring to the Emefiele's investigation, probing him, the activities while he was a CBN governor, and him calling the Obazi right now. He appointed him, and say the probe ended on the 31st day of March 2024. I just want a little comment on that.
Okay. We
do not have time again.
It's good actually that the investigation has come to an end. It wasn't proper that when this incident started, the case was in court, and then we learned of incidents where the prosecuting counsels were withdrawing to adjust, to amend charges and amend charges over and over again, which means that the thorough work has not been done. before they went to court. However, now that the investigations, from the investigating panels has been concluded, one will see how the issues, the charges, and the case of involving the former CBN governor is being addressed.